Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here. Let me start off by asking you a question that I'm thinking that every last one of you who are listening can identify with. Have you ever been in love? I mean, really in love. The kind of love that hurts. A kind of love that joy is in being together. Have you ever been in that kind of love? Now think about how wonderful that would be to be in that kind of love. And then you get married. And that love is just bubbling. Have you ever been in any kind of love in the situation that I've just mentioned? Have you ever been in that situation where you truly loved? And then one day you found out that you were the only one in love. Whether you were married and found out, or whether you were just steady and found out. It doesn't matter whether you were going together or whether you were married. It was devastating, especially if you loved till it hurt. Now you find out that that hurt was nothing compared to the hurt that you feel now. I hope that many of you have recovered from such a situation. And I know that many of you have definitely been in that situation. I know what it's like. I've been in that situation where I thought it would never end unless you died. No sickness would separate you. If one of you got sick, the other one would just love to be there to be whatever you need to keep you in whatever better situation that you can be in. Or if you were just so poor you had to eat out the garbage cans and live in the wintertime in a pasteboard box. That kind of love, where when you're cold out there, you can get together and you can be warm. That's the kind of love I'm talking about. When you eat out in a dumpster, you can kind of put it to the side and make it look like you are in one of the 5-star restaurants. That's the kind that I'm talking about. But if you've ever gone through that, nothing else seems to matter. I remember my experience, and I'm going to share this with you for the simple reason I want to give you a message that the love gives to you. I was married, and it ended just like I just described. I was so devastated because to me it seems as if I was being sacrificed for money. And I say that because up until right before this happened, she and I were on the same page, making it with material gains by acquiring that which would allow us to do just that. But something happened to me. I like to think I matured, but my personality changed as far as the way I saw life. And I began to have this burning desire that rather than me getting all these things that I've always wanted and still want, it was only good and relaxing and satisfying if my neighbors were as satisfied as I. And I understood what was keeping this from happening. And so I couldn't go along with the game. And so it caused me that one to show me that what people say is not necessarily what's real. But since she, to me, wanted economics, I wanted to give her everything that I was worth. So I volunteered for the Navy, for the Persian Gulf duties, at a time when Iran had taken the hostages. And I was thinking there might have been a shootout. And if that was the case, maybe I could get in the middle of it and get caught. And she could get the check. But it didn't happen that way. I'm still here all these years later. And I'm still talking about that same thing. What my message is there is, you know now, those of you who have gone through this, how devastating a situation like that can be. But people go through it all the time. All the time. Every day, people are breaking those vows. People are saying, I was just lying. And they don't just say it one time. Many of them say it 2, 3, 4, 5 times and feel good about it. But that was my #1 lie at the time. But it happened again. My only other faith like that is God. That's why my first wife and I had to split. God came to me in a different way than it did to her. And apparently she was real according to the God that she saw. And I was real according to the God that I see. And so here we both are. But I'm looking at a world of churchgoers. I'm looking at people who proclaim God as the universal power. I'm listening at people. I used to preach out of the pulpits, and people would come to me and ask, I want prayer for this. I want prayer for that. I want prayer. I want prayer. Prayer, prayer, prayer. And you hear that prayer changes things, and people are constantly prayer, prayer. They're so interested in prayer, they send in money to get a prayer cloth. They send in money just to get any little thing. They tell me there was a time when people who believed in Catholicism used to pay to have, I can't think of the name of the process right now, but basically to have their relatives or loved ones that's down in purgatory to get out by paying a certain amount to the church. And see, all of this stuff has to do with what somebody told you. It follows us. And so I'm looking now at people who have heard all of these sermons all of their lives, especially in America. If you go to church, and most of the folks go to church in America, at least they used to. People went to church all the time. Even when they had slavery, people were going to church. Even when they were killing the natives and taking their land, people were going to church. And even today, people are constantly going to church. And you got mega churches, and people believe that since their churches have grown, that God is blessing them, and that word is getting out, and people are being drawn and drawn. You remember that wide and that narrow? There was a difference in those, and there was a reason for that. But people are excited about our church, and the people there write books and tapes and videos and go do out lectures and specials and stuff like this. And the people send their tithes in, and the money is just blowing. The money is just bubbling. And then I look around and I'm thinking, where is this God love that I've been taught? I don't see it out there. I was taught something altogether different than what they were taught. Now we've heard the same sermons. We've heard them over and over and over and over again, but I'm getting a different kind of message than what the people are getting. And it seems as though the people are loving theirs because just like that mega church, they're all over there. And there's very few. Well, they're so far apart till if you're standing out there, if you can wear these shoes, you seem to be by yourself. So I'm saying that was my second eye-opener that brought me to my senses. That all of this stuff about God has a different purpose than what we think it has. We think it's to make us ready to live in a perfect world someplace else. We believe that somebody is going to come and take us out. We believe that. And we believe that because we were taught that. And we were taught that by someone who did not want us to know the truth. Why? I know know it's true because I'm seeing it. The same spirit that caused me to do the things that I do also gave me instructions to go and tell people everywhere in America, those people who are in the church mainly, and those outside who would listen, that they are on a path to hell. And what does on a path to hell mean? It means a life of destruction, a life of hard crying, trying times. Don't care what you've experienced before, you're on a path that's going to take you to a place that you wish the stuff you've been through before was your experience at that time. And I did, but I didn't want to tell you like that because I hadn't broken free from you. I still believed that you were real, that it just took a little touch, a little flavor, and you come around. I really believed that. And so I told you not that American Christians and others on the road to hell. I said a walk through life. Everybody goes through life. From hell, the worst it can be, to paradise because you came up. I believe that you would. However, things as the years passed get worse and worse. And as I started studying and listening to the conspiracy theorists about the New World Order and what people who are at that level are considering doing, and that was one of the things, they were going to cause something to happen, that the whole world would be in turmoil, and they wanted to get out of it, that the systems, a higher order of things, has already got a plan in place that they would offer at that time. And then because you were so frightened and so out of it, that you would invite them in to settle this matter. That's what everybody was thinking. At least that's what I was thinking. But the truth of it, they had already said, if this interpretation was made by the people, especially I. But what happened was this. I was to tell you that you were on the path to hell. And they were saying, the powers that be, that you would be welcoming them in. That went full circle at the U.S. presidential election of 2016, when the American people put two major political party candidates before the American people, one Republican and one Democrat. At least that's what they represented, in theory. And they were put before the American public. The politicians that were running against them exposed all kinds of things about themselves, about one another, giving it to the American people. The American people were going on the internet, researching, trying to see if this stuff was true. They found all kinds of verification that these things were probably true. And they were still given more and more information. And their decision was, well, one is better than the other. And that's the one they chose to vote for. The one they call the lesser of the evil. And they put all their power behind the evil that they said was the lesser. And even having done that, the system was set up in such a way that the electoral process was set in play. In case the powers at the super top did not agree with the decision that was being made, like in 2000, they didn't agree with the position that was being made today at this election. Yes, this represented lesser evil, but that's not the evil they wanted. And so the Electoral College had to respond to that power. And here comes Donald Trump. Now what does this say? That says that you were on the path to hell, and now you have inaugurated and accepted the most evil individual that the powers that can be could come up with and put in the White House. And you voted for it. Didn't slip in on you. You voted for it. They talked about him. They said all kinds of things about him. That wasn't too much for you. You decided that he was still good. The more they talked about him, the better you felt about it. And then he talked robust stuff that other folks say It's not politically correct, or people had some compassion and feeling and empathy for other people so they wouldn't say certain things. He blurted out anyway, and you just jumped and shouted about it. Most of you thought that because he was doing this, he wouldn't stand a chance. You didn't realize that the powers that be already had the plan. And so while you were laughing at it and thought yourself being laughing to the bank, that other power slipped in when you least expected it. And now here you are, this guy, and all of you. Now, why did I tell you this? This is why I tell you this. You say the world is evil, that Donald Trump is evil. Donald Trump and all of the people who are like Donald Trump, the guy in North Korea, and all of the guys who have come and you've heard about and read about that are gone. They are all of the same stuff. They are made by the power of God just like you are, just like we are. There is no difference between the two of us. When we come into the world, we come into a world that's innocent. As children, as babies, we come into a world that's innocent until we step in it. For the most part, we might have some innocence within our parents. But the moment you step outside of that, you got slush and mud around you. That's reality. And so here we are. Here we are dealing with this, ladies and gentlemen. And on the other side, they're expecting calm and peace and prosperity. Now, in order to get either, there's an activity that has to take place. You got to care about people and treat people like you want to be treated if you want to have that peace and joy and all that other good stuff. Now, if you don't care about turmoil and you find joy and stuff in it, you commit all that kind of stuff, you're going to find some joy in your life as you do this stuff. There's going to be some hard roads to pay that you might have to do for what you're doing. But as long as it's your decision, it's your decision. And you were made that way. We were made that way. To make the decision, to make the choice. Which way do I want to go? Now, each of us, all of us, want our dreams met. It doesn't matter what side of the fence we're on. We all want our dreams met. Now, on the one hand, it is established that everybody, all creation, can have their dreams met if they follow a certain principle. And that principle is what I stated a moment ago. That you do unto others as you have others do unto you. That's as simple as it goes. I mean, it's just that simple. You can fix everything, every problem in the world if you just did that, do unto others as you have others to do unto you. Now, on the other side of choice, it says we want more. We want more. Now, in order for them to, on the good side, we call it good because you know how we label it, they got to do stuff together. On the other side, we got to make them think we're doing stuff together while we scheming without their knowledge. And what we scheming for? We're scheming to grab more than they got. And in order to do that, we might find ourselves having to lie. We might have to cheat. We might have to steal. We might have to kill sometimes. And do all these things just so we can amass as much as we possibly can. Our bonds can run over and we don't have to worry about lack. Now, they're thinking like that and they become so greedy that they started trying to do everything they possibly can to infiltrate what we call the good side. The way people treat people nice. Infiltrate that. Come up with schemes to split them up, divide them up like they did, like they've done in America. Like they have done here in America that allows the result of what's happening in the world today. Now, it's been almost 40 years. I was sent out, let me hurry this message up. I was almost 40 years ago that I was sent out to share this message with you. And the thing that shocked me so much, as I indicated before, is that I found out that you were faking it. if you say, what do you want, money or God? Everybody's going to say money. I mean, the words might come out God, but when you get down to the real nitty gritty, you're going with the money, baby. Because that is the tool that the negative side, the side that said we want more, used. They say you get money and you can get all the things that you want. And so what they set out to do, since they had taken control over everything, is put a price tag on everything. So without money, you couldn't get anything. And the only way you can get money was the way they set it up and designed it for you to get that money. And if you didn't fit in any of those things that they wanted, if you didn't fit in with any of those things that they wanted, you couldn't get access to a job, you couldn't get no money. So what did you do? You stole. Then they put you in jail. Say you no good. It's all crazy. I'm not going to go through that with you. But this is what all of the people who love God have accepted. This is exactly what you have accepted. It doesn't matter what your faith is. This is what you accepted because this is what we have. Now, what I am saying, let me answer this call. Oh. Hello. I haven't looked yet. I was making a speech. All right. Bye. And so, you find yourself, for me, I look at it, and when I see the choices that you have made, I could not depend on my ex-wife, who I thought would be with me forever. And I found out I was by myself in that regard. And then I thought my next relationship with people who love God. And to love God, at least to me, meant what I understand loving God to me. And I found out that I was deceived. I didn't find that. And the evidence came when I ran for president of the United States. And that's all I talked about. And nobody considered it, for all of the various reasons you can think of. What I talked about was what people were asking when they were asking for prayer. When they send their prayer cloth, they want peace. They want their kids to be able to go to school. They want the kids to make good grades. They want kids to be treated right and have health care if they need it. They want kids to have a place to stay. All people want this. This is the kind of prayer that they're asking for. And then I came before them and said, God said all of this stuff is yours already. I can show you how you got it stripped out of you, and whatever I tell you is not new because others tell you about it all the time. But what they don't tell you is how to fix the problem. I tell you about how to fix the problem, and it's a foreign language to you, and you don't want to have anything to do with it. Now, what purpose do I have to continue living? You think I want to live in a world like this? See, the problem with me is this. It's not the world. It's the people that suffer in this world. Those people who are hurting in this world. Then you can look at them and you can feel their pain. People who seem to be so destitute, and it is as if no one cares. I tell you, that tears me up. And I would rather be free from that. I had hoped that in this life we could straighten it up. But I have found out that's ain't happening here. At least not now. And so I guess my time is served. And I want to tell you this. All my relatives, all my children, all my classmates from elementary up through now, all the people that I've ever worked with, all the people that I've ever known, I want you to know this. It was a stone gas knowing you. I enjoyed every moment of it. And because that's true, I'm a realist. I know what goes around. And because I love you, I can't, not as long as I know how to see this problem through, sit back and just let this stuff happen. I thought all the people that complain, the people on cable, you know there's so many people on cable complaining about this and that and saying this and that and trying to do everything they possibly can to expose what's going on. And I realize why they keep doing that. They keep doing that because as if they are looking for ratings to see who can get the word out there the clearest and the most. And that's all good. But they're also doing it for another reason. They're looking for somebody to stand up and run with the ball because they themselves cannot do it. And I can't get on their backs. They know they can't do it. If they could, they'd be doing it. But they can't, and they ain't. So, I tried. I failed. And so I'm not going to try anymore. I'm just saying this to you. What I learned, you will learn. It'll come one day. I don't know when, but it'll come. And it won't come because people talk to you. It'll come because you would have gotten one of the worst whippings you've ever got in your life. Then you won't deny it. Until next time, this is Eddie Marcus. Gave you a little bit of truth. What was I going to call this? I wrote a little piece of, when I was thinking about it, it's called Your Faith, Money or God. Your faith, money or God. And I know, yeah, before I go, I'm going to show you how that is related. If you had been trusting in God and somebody came along and offered you that you could have more and took your reliance off of treating others as God would have you do and told you you could do it in money and promised you that you'd get your cut of the money when other folks wouldn't, would you join on with them? Well, in heaven, they say the angels join on with them. And I know down here on earth, we join on with them. The question is now, will you stop? Do you dare? Can you change? Can you become a change agent? The answer to that, every last one of you, in time. Bye-bye.